Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you've had a lovely lunch. So our next speaker, unfortunately, has been diagnosed with COVID and is too ill to attend. So that was Associate Professor Niall Wheat. However, very kindly, in his place, graciously, we have Professor Gavin Ash, who is joining us today from the University of Southern Queensland. Please welcome Gavin up here, who will be telling us a little bit about a new initiative for the cannabis and hemp industry in Australia. Welcome, Gavin.
You made it up for minds
Oh, well, thank you very much, and thanks very much for the opportunity to speak to everyone today. I know that you were expecting a different speaker, but I'll try and keep you entertained a little bit this afternoon. What I'm talking about this afternoon is an initiative that we're putting together through a group of like-minded people to work in the hemp and cannabis industry to develop a CRC, a Cooperative Research Centre. Before I get started though, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we're meeting on and to pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. So we've put together a team to work on hemp and cannabis in an integrated way across the whole industry. And so I realise that most people in here are coming probably from a prescriber medical background, but that's not being excluded from what we're doing, and we think there are opportunities here for everybody to be involved. We've put together research partners from around Australia. So we have the University of Southern Queensland that I'm involved with. We have Southern Cross University, which have a long history of working in hemp and cannabis. We have Deakin University, New South Wales Government, the New South Wales Department of Primary Industries are in as a partner in this as well. Green Lab, an organisation that works both in Australia and New Zealand, and the University of Western Sydney. And we have Dennis Chang, who's our program leader. Dennis over there from the University of Western Sydney, which a lot of you might know. We have a number of programs that we're looking at, and it's not concentrating on medicinal cannabis, but medicinal cannabis is part of what we're doing. And that's an important point to make. We have 4 program leaders that we've appointed. We have Sarah Purdy, who's from the New South Wales Department of Primary Industries, and she is looking at hemp production. And this covers both in-field and glasshouse and protected cropping production. We have Hemp for Health, which obviously includes medicinal cannabis, but includes areas such as nutraceuticals, cosmetics, and nutritional aspects for both humans and animals. So that's an important part of that. We have Hemp Materials, and we have Miriam from Deakin University, where we're looking at the use of hemp in textiles and cosmetics, but also in building materials. And there's a lot of emphasis now starting to move on to building materials and how hemp is probably the most carbon negative of all crops. And Tobias, who is working on our Hemp Futures program. We've also got a number of sector experts, and I'll try and step back a little bit. Sector experts, including Deb Harlestone, Chris Holland, Helen and Stuart Gordon, who's from CSIRO. So the vision. CRCs are a long-term investment by the federal government. So the vision for this is to take an industry-led approach to research and development. And we've had quite a few presentations here and in other rooms about industry and about research. And they tend to be spoken of as different things. What we're actually looking at is the industry needs to guide the research that's going to be done. We have to do the research that you need to have done to actually make the outcomes that you want. So as I said, we've got the 4 research programs, and I might just take a moment to go through each of those so you've got a bit of an idea of what's involved in those. So hemp production, we're looking to develop the technologies, and this includes things like genetics, to make sure that we can grow the crops that we're saying we're going to grow. And this is really critical to what we're trying to do. It's also part of sustainability. And if you talk about sustainability, that is also broadacre as well as covered cropping. Because things like, if you know about water and water usage, and we don't have any problems with having water at the moment. Actually, we've probably got too much in this region, and that can affect crops and crop development. But in a glasshouse situation, we can actually save 85% of our water by growing our plants indoors in a glasshouse. And so that's a really big tick for the industry. And so we can actually start to move towards that. We want to optimise protected cropping. We want to look at integrated pest management, biosecurity, and also innovative harvesting techniques. Hemp for health might be where most of the audience here today would be interested in what we're looking at here. So trying to deliver research that supports hemp for health. So what are the issues? And we've talked about a number of them today, and there are any number of them. We need to think about what our priorities are, and also we need to get industry to buy in, because this is going to be dependent upon industry actually putting cash into this. So although I'm providing you very much with a skeleton of what we're trying to do and the type of research that we're going to do, the detail is going to be needed to be filled in by industry. And that's why we're here today, and that's why we've been to other meetings around Australia, is to actually get the feedback of what the industry actually wants to see. So the projects within this will include things like optimisation of raw materials, validation of claims, clinical trials, pharmacology, animal nutrition research, and that's not exhaustive at this stage. We have hemp material, and as you probably know, hemp is a material that has a lot of uses, and it can be used quite widely in a number of different areas. The mechanisation of that needs to be improved within Australia so that we can compete on a global market. We're dealing with a number of textile industries, so they're actually looking at whether they can use hemp as a rotational crop with cotton, use some of the machinery that's being used for cotton, but also use the infrastructure very much that's already there and optimising the use of that. And we're looking at market-driven research. So once again, it's, do we have the hempcrete products? So this morning, if you were here, the Mayor of the Sunshine Coast was talking about their building and how fast it's growing around here. Hempcrete is actually a fire retardant concrete, which is lower weight and more sustainable, and actually is a carbon sink for building. So there's opportunities, for example, in the Olympics to actually build a number of the facilities that need to be built from hempcrete, and so drive that interest in hemp as an industry overall. And lastly, we have hemp futures. We think that we have to look, rather than looking down at what's happening now, we need to look into the future, and we need to say, what's coming down the pipeline? What do we need? What will we need in another 5 or 10 years' time to make this a sustainable industry? And this is as important for the medical side as it is for the building side. We need to be able to look at what we actually need in the long term. And lastly, we have an education and training perspective. And this is something else I think may be of interest to you. There will be PhDs. There will probably be in the order of 30 to 40 PhDs, which will be funded through the CRC initiative if it's successful. However, we're also looking at vocational training. And some of that may be around the practitioners and the nurses and doctors who will be prescribing hemp. So how much education do they need? What type of education do they need? And also, what do we need to do to change the impressions of the general public about the use of these sorts of products? So I've talked about what we're doing, but what is a CRC? Cooperative research centres have been going since the mid-1990s and have been supported by the federal government. They support industry interaction with research organisations, and they want to see that interaction working for industry. The approach is very much that if we raise $1, they will match. We're actually trying to raise money from industry, but we've already raised it from the universities. The universities at the moment, they're all being involved at the moment, have already committed to this in cash and in kind. So we already have the money from the research partners. We're now the core research partners. We are now looking for industry money to match that, to maximise the outcomes. It allows for capacity building overall, and so if you look at the opportunities for teaching and research in these areas, it's massive. We're looking at 10 years worth of funding. So if this is successful, it'll start in the middle of next year and run for 10 years. That's a long time frame for actually getting change within the industry, rather than these short bites. So we're looking at our partnerships, and we have several levels. We have core partners, key partners, supporting partners and affiliate partners. And we're very interested in people being involved at all levels within the CRC. This will be the largest initiative in hemp and cannabis in the Southern Hemisphere. We are talking $120 to $130 million over 10 years. So it's a very significant thing to be involved in. So we are looking at partners to be involved with us at this level to actually commit substantially to the CRC and what we're trying to do. There is a series of guidelines, and this round that we're bidding for hasn't opened yet because the government is a bit distracted at the moment. I think there's something on today that's keeping them very interested. So we don't even know which ministers we'll be speaking to at this stage. However, what we're looking for at this stage is a stage 1 application at the end of July. We're looking at a development of stage 2 and then submission of stage 2 in January 2023. Outcomes expected in April for a start in funding starting in July 2023 to run out to 2023, which sounds a long way in the future. This will be set up as a separate industry, a separate company. It's not coming out of a university, it would be set up as a company. So what makes a good bid? A good bid is very much around having an industry challenge. And I think that this industry has a lot of challenges, but having a clear view, a clear vision for the direction, and to have a clear vision for commercialisation and sustainability of the industry in the long term. So the next steps that we're going through at the moment is that we're finalising our research partner membership, which we've done. We have appointed our program leads, and these will develop what their individual programs are. We're engaging with industry partners, and we've talked to a number of partners here and at other meetings that we've been at. We're looking to co-design, and that's very important. We're co-designing what's going on. It isn't a university or someone coming to you and saying, this is what I'm going to do for you. It's us coming to you and saying, what do you want to do and how can we do that? And then we will continue with our ongoing industry engagement. It won't finish with the application. We need to continue to do the work, to continue to refine what we're doing. So we've got a website which is hempcrc.com.au. I'd encourage you to have a look at that. It's updated on a regular basis and has all our contacts there. What I would ask is for people to think about it, for people to give us some feedback on what we're doing, to actually introduce us to groups that you think may be interested in what we're doing, and get involved if you think there is a fit for you. Thanks very much.